initially did not design them with structures for dumpsters, which was unbeknownst to DPW, and then all of a sudden we're getting calls that these people were given curbside pickup. So they weren't, when they planned them at the planning department, they did not include us in this conversation. So we were then, and our contractor wasn't comfortable at the time with driving in their, you know, in their new complexes, and it was a huge mess. So that's what happened when they started designing newer condos. The older condos, which are the ones that you have had the, I call them dumpster hubs. They had the dumpster hubs in place. And as far as I know, they're individually assessed taxes, just like the regular homeowner. Whether or not that cost covers the cost that we're paying, they were supposed to be doing an analysis, and I don't know if they did.
Well, that was what I was curious about.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's getting the same mill charge, but these guys have a unique situation, and they've got X number of dumpsters, and they're being picked up X times per month. What's the relation between what we pay versus what we pay?
Substantially lower than.
I don't know what the property values of those condos are, to be honest with you. So.
Jerry, you did do an analysis on some of that earlier this year. Do you recall?
I think the analysis with Glenn Nojak on when we discussed it, is that the cash we were charging on ad valorem was not sufficient to collect what we were actually being charged. But I don't know, I don't have the exact dollar amount for you here. But I believe we were in the red, if I'm thinking correctly.
Were those on these condos? I know that at some point in time there were some others that were thrown on the list or something somehow that we were picking up, and it was outside of the scope of the agreement.
Correct. I think there were 6, and I have to pull back my own document. There was 6 or 7 condo units that we reviewed the taxes that we were collecting versus what we were being charged. And if I'm remembering correctly, our taxes was less than what the charge were that we're being charged by the garbage company. But Mayor, I don't have those specific numbers immediately for you.
And I'm not sure what we could do about it anyways, right? They
No,
get
because
the
it's
same mill
a
that,
fixed, correct,
right.
a fixed millage rate, Councilman, based on the assessed value of the house.
okay, but my initial question was why those condos, and I think you've answered that based on structure and.
They were not, they were built with the dumpster structures in place, and the newer ones that have curbside pickup. So that was my argument initially, is if you're gonna take the dumpsters away and make them pay for it, then what about those living in Wood Creek and Oak Creek? Are they, I know there's values are probably higher. I believe the ones off of Telegraph and North Stone, I think we have curbside pickup in there too. So are they covering their costs for pickup?
So, right, so you're saying each individual unit has their own can, just like a house?
Correct.
Right.
Through Chair, sorry to interrupt, I got an answer for you on the amount. Because what it is that the 205 includes the tipping fees. Tipping fees is a separate contract with Riverview, so that's not included in the amount. So if you want to kind of
53,160 should be deducted.
That's correct. So basically, if you're looking at the analysis, you take the, in this case, the GFL total, the RISD total, the 55,341.60 for options 1 and 2, and then add on the 97,272, which is the total roll-off pickup for the second option underneath option 3. That gives you 152,613.60. Add 10% to that gives you the 167,874.96. Because it's a separate contract, we already have that Riverview contract, or we're negotiating the Riverview contract, so that's a separate cost. So that's why this approval is only for the contract we would have with the award, the person who's going to be awarded the bidder contract.
Okay, so the 55,341, the 97,272, and what was the third one?
Nope, that's it, those two.
Just those two?
And then 10% on top of
10%,
that.
okay.
So that's where that number is derived from.
All righty, thank you. Dan, one more?
Well, let me.
Yeah.
Check the numbers here. part of my question, I think it's a moot point whether you look at the 205 and the 207, or if we just take the two numbers that you just mentioned. There's a difference of about $2,000 between Rizzo and Advance. My question is there any consideration to doing business with Rizzo or not doing business with Rizzo if it's only a $2,000 difference based on what we know about Rizzo today versus what we knew about them 6 months ago? Is it part of the equation?
It would be,
Well, they do have a new owner, and it is changing to a name, right, GFL.
And that was basically in the works when we approved
Right.
the contract.
Right.
As far as we knew, none of that was going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We didn't know any of that when we voted, the way we voted.
And now it's changed since then. It's a different owner.
Well, the company is embroiled in the same investigation that we've been hearing about for the last 90 days. Whether we call them Rizzo or GFL, it's,
Well, GFL's not involved in it.
well, they have to be. They bought on the SS. I mean, they own that company.
Well, yeah, but that don't,
I can't get out of a federal investigation by selling my company.
well, no, that don't mean you get pulled into it, too, if you buy a company. I don't
It does.
I don't know if it does or not. I mean, you might be pulled in technically, but be a guilty party, we don't know that.
Yeah, and I'm not,
Right.
I didn't say the word guilt. I'm saying what we know about them now, and whether or not, their ability to perform, whether it's under the contract we approved this summer or this contract will continue based on how much fallout there is from whatever, if there's any fallout from wherever the investigation leads.
My opinion is.
We're talking about $1,900.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but if they're a low bidder, and I'm hoping that was an isolated incident, and I voted the opposite way the last time. The way I look at it is, if they, we put in a low bidder and there's something wrong, they'll get caught. And I mean, we might have to scramble at that point to, but I hopefully they,
We don't
I don't
always
know.
take the
We
low
don't always
bidder.
take the
We
low bidder.
don't
We can take-
always get bids.
we
We
can
don't
take the
always take
best
the low bidder when we have
value.
bids. So this is to me a little bit unique, and it needs to at least be discussed. I'm not trying to persuade anyone to vote one way or the other. I'm just saying we know what we know, and we'd be silly not to discuss it.
Madam Chair, certainly from the city's perspective, we did talk about it, and of course, we had all the same dialogue, and at the end, we concluded that we felt that it was in our best interest to bring forward the low bid. They're qualified, we certainly are aware of all the allegations. With that being said, I think there is another strategy that's worth discussing and considering, and I don't think there's any secret that, having diversity and having options doesn't hurt us. And for a $2,000 difference, you have two different companies that if you do have some type of fallout with one or the other, you have an established relationship. So I don't think that even considering that as an option is a bad thought. But we did go through the process, and they were the low bid, and so we did feel that through purchasing DPW and in our discussion that it was the best thing to bring forward the low bid. But if council wants to approve the other one, we certainly don't have any issue with that. What we do have an issue with is staying in the current contract, because that's just, that just doesn't make economic sense.
Does this Canadian company have a history? With,
The new GFL?
Yeah.
And they're all qualified bidders, correct? They all qualified.
That's what
Every
it's
company in here?
one
Not Republican.
Not Republican. And the Republic's the one that's been being generous with us.
well,
So Advance is.
I got the opinion, or of the opinion, I got the impression that the administration was trying to draw in more contractors.
Competition.
I'm sorry?
She said she got the impression that it was a goal of the administration to draw in, like what you just stated, more competition,
that's-
to have more options.
It's one thing that, we've been somewhat sensitive to overall, but, sometimes it makes sense and other times it doesn't. I just, as Councilman Bezura said, I don't think any of us can ignore the elephant in the room and what's going on. And, that exists, and whether or not, they're exonerated in the future, you know, that remains to be seen. I don't think there's any pending issue against the company right now, other than, you know, what the speculation is. But it is a small amount, and that does exist, and if council, you know, felt that it would make more sense to go with the other company, we would be okay with that. But if we would be okay with it if you recommend, or if you approved the recommended company in GFL.